This Japanese soldier is known as Immortal Sugimoto. No matter how severe his injuries are, he can recover overnight. Moreover, Sugimoto alone can eliminate all enemies in an entire enemy trench. In the 37th year of the Meiji era, during the escalating Russo-Japanese War, one of the most brutal battles, Gil 303 battle, Japan deployed 130,000 soldiers to the front line near Port Arthur, aiming to capture the Russian naval base fortress. This battle resulted in the death of 60,000 Japanese soldiers and 46,000 Russian soldiers. The soldiers on this battlefield faced a grim fate for the most part. Our protagonist, Saichi Sugimoto, is a member of the Japanese Army's 1st Division. He possesses extraordinary courage. Sugimoto fearlessly charges into enemy trenches, engaging in combat. His performance in the Hill 303 battle earned him the nickname Immortal Sugimoto among the people. After retiring from the military, Sugimoto travels to Hokkaido to fulfill his promise with a fallen comrade and met a drunkard. From the drunkard's words, he learns about a clue about the Ainu people's hidden treasure. It is said that in the distant past, one could easily discover gold in any river in Hokkaido. The Ainu people, in order to prevent outsiders from seizing their land, secretly amassed resources and formed an army to protect the gold. Suddenly, a man appeared who not only stole all the gold, but also massacred the Ainu people who possessed it. After hiding the gold in a specific location in Hokkaido, he was apprehended by the authorities and incarcerated in Abashiri prison. Despite enduring severe torture, including having his tendons severed by prison guards, he adamantly refuses to disclose the location of the gold. But because he was trapped in prison, the man was unable to disclose the location to his comrades. Finally, he came up with a solution. He divided the treasure's code into several parts, mixed with charcoal ash and saliva. He tattooed it on several death prisoners. Only by combining all the prisoners' tattoos could it form a complete code. The man told these condemned prisoners he will share half of the gold with the person who successfully escapes. The rebels and the garrison soldiers heard about the tattoos. They forcibly took the prisoners out of the prison, falsely claiming to transfer them elsewhere. But their true intention was to piece together the code and claim the gold for themselves. Unexpectedly, the group of death row prisoners suddenly rebelled. They killed all the soldiers and disappeared into the depths of the forest. Sugimoto did not believe the drunkard's words. The drunkard realized his slip of the tongue upon waking up. He actually planned to kill Sugimoto to silence him. The drunkard ran away. When Sugimoto caught up, the other person had already been bitten to death by a bear. He opened the drunkard's clothes and discovered tattoos on the skin. It turned out the drunkard was one of the fugitives. It seems that the legend is indeed true. Sugimoto continued on his way, carrying the corpse. However, he encountered a brown bear attack halfway. In a critical moment, an Ainu girl appeared. She shot and killed the brown bear, saving Sugimoto. Her name was Asaipa. She could understand the language of the Yamato people and was skilled in mountain life and had knowledge of hunting. Asaipa noticed that the drunkard's intestines had been emptied. She speculated that there should be Matakari-yupu nearby, referring to bears that missed hibernation. They are the only ones hunting for food. During this period, if that bear realizes its prey is missing, it will surely pursue relentlessly. Therefore, Asaipa suggested he should leave the corpse behind and depart quickly. Sugimoto opened the drunkard's clothes. He confessed about the story of the prisoner hiding gold. He thought Asaipa would not believe it. The girl said her own father was killed by the gold hiders. Asaipa agreed to help Sugimoto hunt the bear. The two planned to use the drunkard's corpse as bait to lure out the brown bear. The bear appeared soon. It tackled Sugimoto to the ground. Hidden in the shadows, Asaipa immediately set up her bow and shot an arrow. Although she scared away the brown bear, she didn't hit the vital spot. The giant bear quickly returned in a critical moment, and as a wolf stepped on Sugimoto, leaping and biting the brown bear. This kind of wolf is known as the guardian deity of the Ainu people. With the help of the Eza wolf, he successfully hunted down the brown bear. At the same time, he realized it would be difficult to capture all the escaped prisoners by himself. So Sugimoto invited Asaipa to join the search for gold. In order to take revenge on father's killer, she agreed to work with Sugimoto. However, she made a request. That is, Sugimoto couldn't kill people indiscriminately. The next day, the two of them peeled off the skin of the drunkard and officially set foot on the journey to find the gold. Sugimoto speculated that the prisoners, in order to conceal their identities, would surely hide in large cities among the crowds. So their first destination in the search for gold, Otaru, in such a big city, how come they search for the prisoners? Clever Sugimoto came up with a plan to lure them out. They deliberately asked around on the main street about people with tattoos. Two suspicious men overheard their conversation and followed Sugimoto, intending to silence them. As soon as the two entered the forest, they fell into a trap set by a Sarpa in advance. As expected by Sugimoto, these two individuals are the escaped prisoners from Abashiri prison, who also have eaten goat tattoos. After the prisoners successfully escaped, they started killing each other. They hid their identities in Otaru, but due to their guilty conscience, when they heard someone inquiring about tattoos, they wanted to strike first. While Sugimoto promised not to kill, so he didn't peel off their skin. Instead, he had a Saipa copy their tattoos. A bullet flew through the air and pierced through the head of one of the prisoners. Since the enemy had the advantage in the dark, the Sarpa released a smoke bomb and escaped with Sugimoto and the prisoner. Shiraishi, the mysterious person who fired the gun, was about to catch up, but was tackled by Sugimoto, who was hiding in the dark. The two wrestled in the snowy ground. Sugimoto prepared to shoot, but realized the rifle's parts had been disassembled by the opponent. The mysterious person revealed his cloak. It turned out he was a private from the 7th Division of the Army, named Ogata Haikanasuke. The 7th Division is the strongest army unit. Ogata is not a match for Sugimoto, but he realizes that Sugimoto has no intention of killing, so he breaks free and runs away. Sugimoto throws the rifle butt at him, causing Ogata to fall down the snowy slope. As for the surviving prisoner, Shiraishi, he plans to take this opportunity to escape. He is known as the Escape King. A genius at escaping, he has a unique physical ability that allows his joints to dislocate freely. Sugimoto wants to catch this cunning person. The two of them are careless and end up rolling off a cliff into the river. The weather, if they don't start a fire to dry themselves, both of them will undoubtedly die. But the matches are soaked, and the rifle is hanging on the cliff. Sugimoto wades into the river to search for bullets, and asks Shiraishi to help search. After receiving Sugimoto's promise, Shiraishi spits out a bullet from his stomach. It was hidden on him for an escape plan. They use the bullet to ignite a fire. Finally, their clothes are dried, and Shiraishi begins to talk about his past. The person who gave them the tattoos, nicknamed Nobaribu. He tattooed a total of 24 prisoners. None of them were good people. Among them, the most vicious one was the leader who organized the escape. Rumors say he is Hijikata Tashizo from the Shinsenumi, formerly a samurai of the old shogunate forces, and participated in the Battle of Hakadate. It was Nobaribu who led everyone to escape to Otaru. At this moment, the legendary Hijikata Tashizo is forming an alliance with an escaped criminal named Ashiyama. They have officially formed a partnership. They plan to confront the 7th Division, to gather the tattoos and search for the gold. Shiraishi bids farewell and leaves alone. Ogata, who was almost frousing to death, is rescued by the 7th Division. Lieutenant Tsurumi asks him who exactly did it. Ogata writes in the lieutenant's palm. He writes Immortal Sugimoto. The next morning, after regrouping, Sugimoto and the others see the reflection of a telescope on the mountain. They guess that the 7th Division has come searching. They quickly run towards the nearby forest. The one leading the chase is a first-class soldier from the 7th Division, Tanigaki Genjiro. He used to be a hunter. He is very knowledgeable about the mountains. To shake off this difficult guy, Sugimoto suggests to Sarpa to split up and escape. Genjiro can only order his subordinates to chase after them separately. Using his excellent hunting skills, he finds a Sarpa hiding in a tree. Genjiro declares that he means no harm. The Sarpa hides the package on the trunk. Then she jumps down to the ground. The package falls off the branch. Genjiro approaches and inspects it. A Sarpa tries to launch a surprise attack, but is noticed by him. In a critical moment, the Asa wolf, Ritar, appears once again and saves a Sarpa once again. It turns out, years ago, a Sarpa and her father saved Ritar from a brown bear and raised it. So Ritar has been secretly protecting a Sarpa, while Sugimoto is not as lucky as her. He is surrounded by some soldiers from divisions. He drops his weapon. As the soldiers get closer, Sugimoto turns around and dives into a brown bear's den. Because a Sarpa had once said, brown bears won't attack people who enter their dens. the leading soldier fires a shot inside, entering the brown bear. The soldier's face is torn apart. The large bear comes out of the den and starts attacking the soldiers. By the time Sugimoto climbs out, holding a bear cub, they are all dead. Sugimoto immediately reunites with Asarpa. The two of them did not trouble Genjiro. Instead, they continued their journey with the bear cub, following the tradition of Asarpa's people. When finding a bear cub, they should return it to the village for nurturing. So she leads Sugimoto to her own village, the Ainu village of Kuchin, located along the river and estuary. Isolated from the world, the villagers lead an orderly social life. Sugimoto enjoys a hearty meal at Asarpa's house, enjoying a rare moment of peace. In the evening, Asarpa's family members approach Sugimoto privately for a conversation. They notice the affection between the two young people. They want to persuade Sugimoto to give up the gold and stay in the tribe to marry Asarpa and spend their lives together. Because the elders don't want Asarpa to be involved in danger, they believe that the gold is a cursed object. But Sugimoto cannot give up the gold. He understands Asarpa's family's concerns. After careful consideration, he decides to leave Asarpa behind and continue his journey alone. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Tsurumi is searching for Janjiro's whereabouts in the mountains. Superior Officer Captain Vana finds out that he took people to Otaru without permission and caused the soldiers to go missing. He becomes furious. The captain threatens to kick Tsurumi out of the army, but is shot by his own vice-captain. It turns out, Lieutenant Tsurumi has long been fed up with his incompetent superiors and has been planning to take over the 7th Division. He intends to find the gold to use as military funds to avenge his fallen comrades. Several years ago, during the Battle of Port Arthur, in the Russo-Japanese War, due to a misjudgment by the higher-ups, Tsurumi's comrades suffered a tragic death. He himself, in the Battle of Fontaine, had his skull shattered by shrapnel. Now he can only protect his forehead with a protective gear. Tsurumi has lost everything. He will not rest until he achieves his goal. Meanwhile, the fugitive Shiraishi is in a brothel in Otaru. He runs into Ashiyama head-on. Terrified, Shiraishi starts running, but Ashiyama relentlessly chases after him. He can only seek help from patrolling soldiers. The man with tattoos on his body is chasing me. In the midst of the chaos here, someone threw a grenade onto the street. This man in a suit is working with Ashiyama. They are causing confusion through their coordinated actions. Shiraishi takes this opportunity to escape quickly. Tsurumi hears the explosion and rushes to the scene. He falls into Hijikata's trap. Their plan was to lure the division soldiers here and then launch a surprise attack on a bank on another street. When Tsurumi arrives at the scene, he discovers that the vault has been emptied. The ancient sword, Izumo Sukandata, that was originally hidden here. At this moment, it is in Hijikata's hand. Tsurumi seems to sense something. He pushes open the window and shoots at Hijikata, but the opponent quickly rides away from the scene. On the other side, Sugimoto is eating at a noodle restaurant in Otaru. He hasn't finished his bowl of noodles yet. When he is spotted by the Ogata brothers from the 7th Division, he won't be able to finish his noodles. Although Sugimoto is skilled in fighting, outside the door are soldiers from the 7th Division. He accidentally gets knocked down by a soldier. The soldier is about to shoot Sugimoto. Unexpectedly, Tsurumi suddenly appears. He invites Sugimoto into his office for a conversation. He also prepares Otaru's famous sticky rice balls. Tsurumi asks Sugimoto to hand over the tattooed human skin, but Sugimoto says, "You've got the wrong person. I am not Sugimoto." Tsurumi doesn't waste any more words. He directly stabs Sugimoto's cheeks with a bamboo skewer. Sugimoto has an undying body, with extraordinary healing abilities beyond ordinary humans. Only by trying will you know. Tsurumi appreciates Sugimoto's calm demeanor. He wants him to join his side, to take down the 7th Division and occupy Hokkaido, then cut down the trees and grow poppies, and distribute the earned money to post-war refugees, to ensure the families of soldiers have no worries about their lives. But Sugimoto refuses to ally with him. Tsurumi instructs the Ogata brothers to keep an eye on Sugimoto. Meanwhile, the Asarpa is worried about Sugimoto. She asks Ritar to track his scent from his socks. Ritar arrives near a house in Otaru. Unexpectedly, the person inside is not Sugimoto, but a prisoner named Shiraishi. They must have accidentally swapped socks while drying them. That's why Ritar followed the wrong person. The white wolf bites Shiraishi's head. threatening him to reveal Sugimoto's whereabouts. Shiraishi has no choice but to confess. He saw him this morning. He was taken away by the soldiers of the 7th Division, as Saipa asked Shiraishi to take her to the division's base. Meanwhile, Sugimoto is not sitting idly. He knocks out the teeth of the twins and flips over, breaking the chair. He swiftly locks one of the Ogata brothers with his legs. The 3 of them wrestle on the floor. Sugimoto knocks the 2 of them away. However, the noise attracts other soldiers. Shiraishi sees everything through the window. He tells Saipa, "I can break into the iron window and rescue Sugimoto, but you must give me half of the gold." After reaching an agreement, Shiraishi covers his whole body in grease. He contorts his joints and crawls into the room. Before he can rescue anyone, the Ogata brothers unexpectedly turn back halfway. They try to quietly kill Sugimoto. When Tsurumi hears the commotion and arrives with his men, one of the twin brothers is already lying dead on the ground. Sugimoto is clutching his stomach and leaning against the wall. Even his intestines are spilling out. Tsurumi is afraid that if he dies, no one will know the whereabouts of the tattooed skin. He quickly sends people to take Sugimoto to the hospital. Meanwhile, Shiraishi hides behind a folding screen, afraid to make a sound. After the carriage escorting Sugimoto departs for the hospital, Tsurumi finally realizes something is wrong with Ogata's body. He unbuttons the other's clothes. He discovers that the corpse's intestines have been removed. It turns out Sugimoto wasn't injured at all. He faked his injuries and took the opportunity to escape the base. Sugimoto and the soldier are fighting on the speeding carriage. He pushes away the soldier in charge of escorting, but then the driver grabs him by the neck and pins him to the edge. The opponent's knife is about to strike. Sugimoto embraces the driver and rolls off the carriage together. He quickly grabs the rope on the carriage and hangs behind the vehicle. At a critical moment, a Saipa arrives in time. She jumps onto the carriage and pulls Sugimoto back onto it. Then she cuts the rope and throws off the driver. Surprisingly, the younger one of the twins catches up. Ogata repeatedly attacks with a short knife. He nearly stabs a Saipa in front. Sugimoto tries to knock him off the carriage. This Ogata is very annoying. Sugimoto uses all his strength to grapple with him, but he can't shake him off. He almost gets thrown off by Ogata, as Saipa hurriedly throws a stick to Sugimoto. Sugimoto catches it and strikes Ogata forcefully. Then he jumps onto the horse's back. The Saipa decisively unhitches the trailer behind. They successfully shake off Ogata. Lieutenant Tsurumi catches up again. The Saipa immediately takes her bow and shoots an arrow. It hits the horse's front leg. Tsurumi is thrown off the horse. He can only watch as the two escape. When he returns to his troops, he realizes that the 7th Division is on fire. It's actually Shiraishi who set the fire from within. He wants to take the tattoos found by the division. While seizing the opportunity, he searches through everything but finds nothing, because those tattooed skins were made into undergarments worn by Tsurumi. On Sugimoto's side, a Saipa is angry at him for leaving without saying goodbye. Sugimoto explains, "I didn't intentionally leave you. It's just that he can give up the gold and leave it in the village. So why is Sugimoto so obsessed with the gold?" The story begins many years ago. At that time, Sugimoto was good friends with Tanigaki and Meiji from the same village. They were childhood friends who grew up together. One year, Sugimoto's family contracted tuberculosis. One by one, they died tragically. Everyone avoided him. Only Meiji, disregarding her parents' objections, remained by Sugimoto's side. Not far away, Sugimoto was afraid he had been infected, so he set fire to their old house. He left Meiji behind. He secretly made up his mind. If he was still alive after 1 year, he would definitely come back to find Meiji. The year had passed. Meiji was going to marry Tanigaki. Tanigaki was excited when he saw Sugimoto appear, because he knew Meiji had loved Sugimoto. However, Sugimoto didn't have any intention to ruin their wedding. Instead, he sincerely blessed them. Shortly afterwards, Tanigaki enlisted in the military with Sugimoto. At a critical moment when their lives were in danger, Tanigaki saved Sugimoto. Before he died, he told Sugimoto, "My greatest wish is to cure Meiji's eye disease." Tanigaki heard that there was endless gold in Hokkaido. He originally planned to wait until the war was over. Then he would go gold mining to make money. Unexpectedly, he will die on the battlefield today. After the war, Sugimoto visits Meiji with the ashes, but the poor woman has completely lost her sight. This is why Sugimoto is determined to find the gold. He wants to find the best doctor in the world. to find a way to cure Meiji's eyes. All things in the world are born with a mission bestowed by heaven. This is a phrase that Asirpa's father often said. Sugimoto's mission is to cure Meiji. Asirpa's mission is to find the truth behind her father's death. The two of them made a promise to find the gold and fulfill their respective missions, and Shiraishi also joins them. They embark on the journey to find the gold together. The movie ends here. Adapted from the manga of the same name in Weekly Young Jump, winner of the Tezuka Osamu Cultural Prize for Manga. The live-action adaptation is co-produced by Netflix and Toho. Kanta Yamazaki leads the cast. If you like my channel, please subscribe to my channel.